We are live.
Cool. We're back. Yeah. Hey.
Welcome back to another episode of the B Plus podcast.
We are back.
We are back. Checking out our analytics on YouTube, and it looked like people like us saying that we're back. So
we're back, guys. Season 2. I'll say whatever you want me to. Okay.
Badass Youngin, thank you so much for the host, sir.
Thank you.
He re-upped me. I was streaming Destiny, and then I had to go because I stream music at YouTube and Facebook block it, so I had to get offline and then re-up. So we're streaming everywhere. So to get into it, I read a tweet today that I sent to you and said this would be a pretty good topic. So the tweet goes, for decades, big food pushed that exercise is necessary for fat loss. Why? To put the blame on you. If you're fat, it's because you don't exercise, not because you eat all the shit we sell you. Don't fall for the trap, people. Muscle equals training. Body fat equals nutrition. So you want me to go or you want to go?
You go and I'll counter. How about that?
All right. Well,
I'm looking at a nutritionist's website. I'm going to talk about that too. Not a nutritionist. I'm sorry. A dietitian. Well, there's a difference between both of them.
I hope you have some counter arguments because, well, not like counter arguments, but just different viewpoints. Because I do. When I read that tweet, it resonated with me a lot. And that's because in May, so it was like Memorial Day weekend is when I found a guy on YouTube. He's pretty out there. His shtick is to like yell at you and call you fat and just be ridiculous. But
drill sergeant.
Yeah, it's like his shtick. Like he's actually a really, really nice guy. He goes by the name Cole Robinson.
Yeah.
And his just thing is just like every other word's the F word, and using the most vulgar language you could think of. But it was funny because I knew I could see through the facade, and I knew it was shtick. Especially researching him and realizing that he's literally always in Facebook Messenger DMs, literally helping people. He's like, he is not that way. Like he'll be strict with you, but he's not gonna call you a fat pig like he does in his YouTube videos.
Looking for that type of experience, I guess there's a lid to every pot, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I found him, and his message just resonated with me. Now, as you know, I mean, you can go back to the first episode of the B Plus podcast 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago now. I'm not sure how old it is, but we were talking about weight loss, and for those years, again, and this dates back 10 years since I gained the weight when I met my wife, of course, I've been talking about it, and it's just been a lifelong thing. It's been a thing when I was young, but when I was young, if you watch the episode of the Seftimor podcast, when I talk about the 1 meal a day, when I was younger, I went into basically starvation mode, or at that time, what I thought was starvation mode. So I think this tweet resonated with me because I started a prolonged fasting regimen, got off it because it's very, very hard. I'm an addict. It's the same thing with alcoholics or people that do drugs or anything like that. Is I have my fix, which I'll get into for a second because it kind of, let me get into it. You get your fix, and then I just can't stop. And you go down, if that's, they say, if an alcoholic has one drink, they're going to just spiral out of control and just drink. So I went away on a work trip, and yeah, I went on a work trip for 2 days, and that 2 days just getting out of my loop there that I was doing consistently for 3 months, I just fell back into my ways. And
let me stop you right there because you skipped over a key component. I'm going to go into interview mode. I'm going to interview you.
Okay.
When you started fasting, did you think that would be impossible and that would be something that would never be for you?
Oh, absolutely. When I went to the website and it's like, okay, well, first off, you do 48 hours. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And what I found was that in the 48 hours, when I did it, it wasn't scary. Now, mind you, before, people are listening to this and you're, a healthy weight, and you're like, oh, I tried 48 hours and I can't do that. Well, mind you, I have a lot of fat to lose. Okay. I have a lot of fat on my body and I have a lot to lose. I probably have around 60 pounds to lose to be in a healthy weight. So that facilitates what I'm talking about. If you're 10 pounds overweight, like I hate the BMI, but let's just use it for this conversation. Let's just say you're supposed to be 150 pounds and you're 160. Well, obviously fasting for 48 to 72 hours is going to be basically fucking impossible for you.
Oh, yeah.
But the heavier you are, the longer you can go, because what people don't understand, and people are just like, oh, I'm overweight or I'm fat or this or that. In reality, it is, and mind you, we are not doctors. This is just opinions here. But mind you, the reason why we're heavy is because back in the day, we couldn't eat every single day. So our bodies, being the awesomeness that they are, stored food so we can go for days. Well, all this stuff that we're carrying on us is that stored food, is that food in the freezer, that we need to give our body access to. And the problem is that when we eat and eat and eat and eat, even 3 meals a day, 2 meals a day, 1 meal a day, it's not accessing those reserves. Like, they're literally reserves on your body. People just don't understand that. They just see it as a different way. And it gives access to that. So not only that, but I feel incredible. And that's why this tweet resonated with me, is because I really do think that everything is, like, a lot of shit is fucked up anymore. What they put in it, what you're putting in your body. Now I'm saying, like, I would fast 4 days, and when I broke it wasn't the greatest at all. It was like lunch meat, like a pound of lunch meat, and like a low carb wrap, which probably is processed and all that. But like, but what I'm trying to say is that when I was doing it, the days that I fasted, I felt better than the days that I ate. But what I wanted to say before we get into something else, before we continue, what happened with me was that I would fast for 4. So it was every week. Let me get into it. So every week.
Hold on, before you go into the regimen.
Yeah.
When you were in Florida, in the happiest place on earth.
Yeah.
What was the breaking point for you? You know what? I'm going to ask a better question. Right, we can get back to that one in a little bit. Did you think it would be sustainable for you to be able to keep fasting in that fashion for, I don't know, how many months did you do it for?
I did it consistently for 3.
Okay. Did you think you'd be able to do another 3 or what?
I told my wife that I would never go back to my old way of eating ever again.
Which is good. I mean, breaking patterns and habits is good when it comes to being able to.
But I did,
you know what I mean?
But I did, and I let her down, and I feel like I'm letting Jacob down, because at my weight. I mean, I always told you this. I guess I have to be some sort of. I don't think I'm gonna get diabetes or anything like that, but I think I'm pre something, because when I eat, even like fasting, like the other day, I'm just going to be totally honest with everyone listening here. I'll go, and I think that they brought like this like pumpkin bread to work, and I literally fasted. This was yesterday. I fasted till like 4, so like nothing from the night before until 4 o'clock, and I ate it. And of course, that, like I said, it's like breaking the seal. Once I need more, and I had another one, and just like these 2 pieces of bread, I was lethargic.
Really?
I was,
so your body was
yeah. Yeah. So what I'm guessing is that my blood sugar is spiking or something like that, and making me, right? Is that the right thing to say, or?
You went back to fasting when you weren't. You dropped your own blood sugar is what you did. You
Okay.
You start to get lethargic and tired, and like I call it stupata. You know what I mean? You get stupid.
Right. Yeah.
That. Did you have a feeling around your face, your forehead? Like
yeah. It's just
fog.
Yeah. It's just I get, and that's it. Like fasting for me, this is strictly for me, is the most incredible thing I've ever done in my life. I go to work, I do more work. I get this. I was podcasting by myself at the time. The B Plus wasn't back yet. By the way, we're back.
Rough times.
We're back. I was podcasting by myself. I was writing every single day, and and publishing articles almost on the daily. I was actually writing for a book, which I'm still doing, but it's just been on hiatus. But why is that? When I eat, I get lethargic to the point that I don't even want to come. I had a couple weeks ago, I had one whole week where I couldn't even stream. What does that mean? I couldn't sit in this chair and play a video game at night. I wanted to just go lay on the couch. Like,
Okay.
that's it. Like, that's how bad I get.
Well, it depends on what you want to put into your body for what type of output. I, I I can sit here, and the last thing I want to do is delve into America's diet culture. I don't like America's diet culture. It's not very
Right.
nice. It pressures people into believing that they're not living up to an expectation, and it guilts them into wanting to buy this or that so you can look like this or that. It's a very nasty system, and it's obsessed with numbers. Remember this: the diet culture is obsessed with numbers. And the best thing you can do for yourself, and some people are going to be shaking their heads at me right now, is you have to start letting go of those numbers. And then you have to start figuring out things just for you, not for everyone else, not for someone else's system. You have to
Mm.
figure out what works for your own biology, physiology, neurology. Like you have your own psychology you have to battle with. You just said to me moments ago that you felt, oh wow, Uriah Faber is eating some punches. You just said to me you felt like you were letting two people down. To put guilt like that on your own shoulders is going to set yourself up for, well, I don't amount to enough. I didn't do enough things right. I'm not I'm not rewarding the people around me in the right way for the benefit of my own health. You don't need to think like that. You just have to
Right.
find your formula, dude. There's a formula that works out there perfectly for you. So maybe it has to do with fasting, since you saw success with that. Maybe it has to be, maybe we go back to intermittent fasting. Remember, intermittent fasting got you to fasting. There's stages to everything.
Right.
There's lots of research for us to do. Everyone thought that keto was going to be the next great coming. It's just a fad diet. It's just,
I could comment on that too.
oh, please do.
Is well, with the protocol that I was using, I would break. So keto is keto is whatever. I couldn't stick to it. I know it's great for, it does a lot of good for a lot of people, but uh, how Cole says it is that, you know, we want to be preserving and maintaining and possibly even building a little bit of muscle while we're doing this. So the thing with keto and with me was that even though I was eating low carb, like, I would eat a lot. So it doesn't matter if you don't eat bread. That's why the macros are like 70% fat and 25% protein and 5% carbs. So why that is so high is because if you eat a substantial amount of protein, you also break ketosis, just as if you ate too much bread. So that right there, being a guy that lifts all the time, regardless of how heavy I am or whatever, I hated that part because I wanted to, if I was gonna eat, I would just wanted to have lots and lots and lots of protein. So
Okay.
what's cool is that with this protocol, obviously you go into ketosis. So right now I'm fasted probably about 26, 28 hours. I did go today, first time in a very long time, by the way. So what I'm going to be doing this week is I'm going to try to fast till Friday. Friday's an office party. Friday is all that. So I'm going to try to not eat until Friday. Um, and like I said, and this is what everybody said, like, oh, you're not eating, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, listen to me.
No, it's not like
If,
that. I want
listen,
this. Oh, you know what? But I have to plug your fasting real quick.
yeah,
I watched during the same time that you were starting to even dabble in it and talk about it. Let me find it. Oh yeah, this is going to speak to a lot of people. Sometimes we can talk about stuff, but you might need to see something that's a little more comprehensive. Netflix. What's the name of this style of dieting? Because we don't want to call it starving.
it's just
Fasting, right?
fasting. Yeah, it's just fasting.
I only saw half of this, and this made a whole lot of sense. Here it is. I think it's called fasting. It's from 2017. If
Okay.
this is the same one that I was watching, then I'll let you know. I'll let you know. But that did strike a chord with me. And in it explains how in parts in Russia, because our American medical system will not accept fasting. They're going to be like, nah. So even when you said, hey, we're not doctors, well, you got to be careful there.
Right.
You're talking about the opinions of a whole bunch of different people. So the like an American doctor's system to you being healthy is going to have nothing to do with fasting. But in Russia, it's accepted, and they have clinics for it that are funded by the government. So the coolest thing here, I'll get to the bottom line. The coolest thing I saw
Sure.
happen was after this woman was there for 72 hours, something clicks with your fasting after 72 hours. She gets unlocked. She's provided water, rest, to the places to hang out, walk, do whatever you're supposed to be doing while you're fasting.
Mhm.
And all her physical ailments, because she had physical ailments, and she might have had some type of a disease, and even her neurological state of mind, all improved. All of it. All of it went up. All three went up. Yeah.
Everything, dude.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to talk about it, is because this tweet that I sent to you, it really resonated with me for that reason. Is that these big foods are always saying exercise, which helps everything, um, but it's also the icing on a nutrition cake. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
we shouldn't be talking about cake if we're talking about nutrition, but
No, what you should. I'm going to stop you right there. We have to stop villainizing food. The food's not the enemy. It's the way, it's our relationship with food that's
okay.
not healthy. See what I
Uh,
mean?
right, but it's also all the crap that's in it. Like, what we're eating is like Franken food, you know?
Like, I'll let you know first and foremost that I do not recommend that you take in a high amount of sugar or fast food. Like, if you wanted to make one positive step in the right direction to start a diet or start whatever, you're going to just like ease off on fast food and try to watch how much sugar you take in. Other than that, I have been taught not to villainize food, and that I have to actually repair my relationship with some of the stuff that I think I can't keep in the house. It was a very compelling time.
Right, but I mean, well, here. So that's the thing, is like, so let me take you back to when I was legit every single week. So I what the funny part was is that I talk about if I'm a binge eater and I'm like a recovering binge eating addict.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing was is that, so this is it in a nutshell. I I would fast from Monday through Thursday. What was the reason for that? The reason was is that on Thursday or Friday, probably Friday morning, um, and this is after a meal, but like whatever my lowest weight was. So let's say my lowest weight is 260 pounds on Friday, and then I would go the weekend and I would not put a governor on anything. I would eat what I wanted. That's pizza, wings. I would drink what I wanted. It was the summer. There were a lot of parties going on. And then Sunday, I always had a pig out day. I would have whatever I want, which resulted in Monday, I'd wake up and about 5 pounds of it was water weight and all that. But um, Monday, I would wake up and say I'd be like 268, 270. And I'd be like, whoa. So in my protocol, what it was that I cannot eat again until I was 2 pounds underneath my lowest weight.
Okay.
So in order for me to eat again, I would have to get to 258, and that would always happen on a Thursday or a Friday.
Okay.
Um, the crazy thing was is that I eat like a pound, 2 pounds of food on a Thursday when I broke the fast, and I would
Mm-hmm.
wake up Friday still lighter than I was on Thursday morning, which is
Yeah.
crazy. And
No,
and
no,
the,
no, no,
the,
no.
the
So let's pay attention to that. You can't, for people out there that think you're, and this is the first lesson I learned from the meetings that I had with a very intelligent dietitian, is that there is no point where you're going to be able to eat so much that you're basically going to fly up into the sky, into like the atmosphere, and float away, because you can't put that much weight on your body in single serving. So even when you had a pound of lunch meat, let's say, the next day you're still going to wake up just as light as you were the day before. You can always take control of what you're trying to do, whether you're going up or down or whatever direction you're working
right, yeah, and the thing is that uh, so like I said, I would eat and drink whatever, but I would always on Sunday, I would make sure that I had a ton of calories because I knew Monday came and I was going to have to start again. But the thing is that so I went away on vacation, well, work, whatever, for 2 days, came home, could never get back on it. And yet every weekend I was eating my normal ways. And on Monday, it was just I think this is the thing. This is it. It is, and I think it happens with anything. If you create a podcast, if you, I think this relates to anything. It's just mindset. And what happened was that every single week I was dropping 2, 3 pounds, and I saw in those 3 months of me going from like 285 to the 250s where I am now. Like when you see that, it just builds momentum and you stay the course because you know I only have these 4 days that I gotta fast, and I'm going to lose weight. Like it's working. Like and if something is working, you want it to keep working.
Of course.
But if you get and it's just momentum. I think I say this all the time with anything, with writing, with podcasting, with streaming, with anything. It's all momentum. If you break that momentum, it's over until you can get it back, and that might take a day, that might take weeks, months, or even years. And it's just I had the mindset where it wasn't even hard. Like it wasn't hard. People say like, "Oh, you fast 4 days." Like it wasn't hard for me at all because, like I
No,
said, I
I was
have.
talking to you then, and we weren't on hiatus, and you were telling me about your experience, and I was supporting you because I had just watched. I found it. I found the special that you can watch fasting, the 2017 special on or documentary, not special, documentary on Netflix. I'm sure it's awesome, but the one I found, can you put it in like show notes or something like that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Just
I'm gonna say
send it to me.
it's a YouTube link, and you can probably just watch the whole thing on YouTube. But I'm pretty sure this is the same one I watched on Netflix, so you can stream it there too.
Oh, okay, sweet. Yeah, I'll have to look at it.
You're
But
gonna
that
like that stuff.
I'm gonna love it. That was the thing though, is that I never felt bad. Like I always felt good, and I told my wife and everyone, and I said, listen, if I get like if I feel like, oh, I'm gonna pass out, like everyone thinks this. So two, like that's the two things. Like everyone thinks like, oh, you're gonna pass out. Like I felt better. I legitimately
No, you're
felt
not gonna
better.
pass out. You
Right.
should take enough
So
water.
listen, I would fast. So I always ate on Thursday because I was gonna lift on Friday, and then Friday I would not eat. I would eat Thursday night, a pound of food, a lot of protein to fuel me for that workout that following night. And then I would not eat until after the gym on Saturday. Saturday, when I would squat and do all that. The crazy thing that people don't realize is that the benefits of fasting, regardless of any size that you are, the benefits of fasting include growth hormone. I was lifting more. I'm lifting less now, eating like a fat pig.
Yeah.
like
Okay, I got you. All right.
like me being a like me being like gorging myself. I am lifting less than when I was fasting because it upregulates growth hormone, and you could build muscle in it, and it actually, I might link another video, not by Cole, but by someone that's a little more scientific than that. I don't want anyone like freaking out, but it actually starts producing stem cells
Okay.
when you're fasting. So like things cure. That's what you're saying, like that like you have an ailment and it's cured, or you see all this. I've seen Cole posts on Snake Diet Wizard on Instagram, and he had
Snake diet wizard. That's funny.
it's all just people that have been doing this, and people have cured like years of skin. Like their skin is just blotchy and red, and they have I don't know what they have medically, but it's cured through fasting.
I think what you're talking about was pre-diabetes or diabetes itself. That's the first thing you want to reverse with a fast, and that can just reverse itself. It's actually phenomenal. When you watch this documentary, make sure you either fast forward or hang in there because it's a long documentary for
Sweet.
this topic. So when they start talking about how penguins like to redistribute their weight, then they do
Okay.
a human comparison, and all this stuff just starts to kind of line up. You're gonna like it. You're gonna like it a lot.
And that's the thing is, and you could, you don't have to talk about your own thing, but at one point even you were doing this regimen without even really knowing about the fasting. You were just like, I'm not eating. And
Yeah, and I would drop my blood sugar a bunch. It was very stupid. It was
see, I don't know why, because you had a lot of weight to lose too, and you lost over 100 pounds, and like,
oh, well over. I probably did more. I probably lost 2 bells. You know what I mean?
yeah, and you lost all this weight, but you
That's
were,
the only thing I have to go back and say. Like, if you're gonna be
well,
like, what was your weight loss experience like? I'm gonna be like, I'll talk about that on a different time in full detail if anyone wants to know. but I got to come back to you and be I could pretend to show you a picture of me on my wedding day, and I'm like, hey, how how come you didn't tell me how heavy I really was? And you just looked at me, and I'm like, dude, it's okay, just joking around with you.
So I think what your issue was though is that I think your issue was like fasting, but you were also walking like 5 million steps a day, which
Oh,
you
dude, I
know
was pulling in like 20K, no problem.
it equates into cardio. For me, I'm sitting a desk job, and I'm doing yoga in the mornings, which I'm doing it mostly to start moving and to stretch more because I know I'm fasting, so I don't want to kill myself over engaging as much. I do as much as I can, but where back in the day that was a workout for me, and I was worried if I wasn't engaging and my heart rate wasn't up. Now it's just like, no, I just want to do this to stretch and to feel good for the rest of the day, because I believe that that predicates the rest of the day into being good. Like I said, people that don't do DDP yoga and do like the days I don't do it, I feel 10 times worse than the days I do.
Oh my
And
God,
and
I haven't done a DDP yoga in forever. I started going to see a chiropractor because I didn't need it when I was doing my yoga.
Mhm,
Durr.
mhm.
I'm to think about it, it's ridiculous. Although I do enjoy my visits to the chiropractor. I like it my back
I
aligned.
got I
Nice.
want I want to try it one time, but I'm scared because they said that
No,
once you do it, you got to keep going.
no, it doesn't work like that. No, I'm just saying no. There, done. Move on. Trust me on this one. There, that'll be my tagline for this season. Trust me on this one.
So so trust me on this one, merch coming soon.
Yeah, we're working on the shirts. Please buy them. Please buy them. I don't want to work my job for the
Listen,
rest of my life.
listen, we can do that at one point. We can make merch on Teespring or something like that, but we just got to figure it out. Um, but yeah,
The B
so
Plus podcast. Trust me on this one.
trust me on this one. Right on the back. Trust me on this one.
Trust me on this.
Uh, so that's why it resonated with me so much, is because uh, I just feel that people do put a lot. So I walk into Planet Fitness, and I'll pull in on a Saturday, and there'll be one parking spot out of what 50 or whatever was there,
Yeah, dude,
and
I
I'm
like to
like,
do it there, man. It's like working out. Did you ever see the movie District 9?
yeah, yeah,
It's like working out at District 9. I've been there for years. So I lost my subscription last year. I refused to pay it, put the gym in my own basement. You saw it. And I'm fine. But I think I want to go back to some more structured stuff. So talk to me about this. What do you think about me making my triumphant return to the gym, but not at Planet Fitness? Would you ever want to join the Y? Would you ever want to go to the YMCA? Piston?
I would, but like, listen, with it's the money, man. It's the money. Like I
Oh,
can't,
dude, yeah.
I can't knock $10 a month, and
No,
uh
I won't. I won't even suggest that you do. There's no better deal than Planet Fitness. It's absolutely genius.
and
The deal I used to get was $90 for the year, cash up front, no strings attached. It was $90, and I went for a full year.
let me add that I think it's also really good. Like, I understand I do a lot of things on the Smith machine, which is like the bastardization of the gym to some people. Number one, I'm getting my lifts in, which is the key, regardless if you do it on machines or you do it on free weights or you do it whatever. I'm getting it in. But number two is that I really feel that it helps because I'm always alone. So if something goes wrong, I could always rack that Smith machine. If something goes wrong, and I was going to Danko's for a while, and I was getting to the point where I was getting into some heavy lifts. It wasn't just like I get my 6 reps and it's good. I would fail at 3, I'd fail at 4. And some of the times got pretty scary, man. And this I'm able to just rack that weight. There has been I've been going there for consistently for the past 2 years. And there have been maybe twice. I think it was only one time where I was benching and I had to rack that weight, and I had to rack it lower than where I wanted to,
Oh, I got in trouble.
and I had to get out from underneath. So like I've done it, and if I was alone, that would have been the old, you know.
Could you yell spot there? Will someone do it? Like if someone yelled
Yeah.
spot, I'd come over and do it. Wouldn't even think about it. I would just spot them.
No, they probably would.
Yeah.
But me, I'm like introverted, so I don't even want to like ask people.
Dude, I did it myself too. Buried myself, lifting in the basement by myself, hurt myself because I'm a goof. I don't know who I was trying to impress. There was no one around. It was middle of the night. I got buried. The weights on my chest. It's heavy. I'm not going to move it. So I'm like, all right, this is gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt like sound wise. So I dump the weight off my run side.
Yep.
The Olympic barbell whoosh, goes makes so much noise. I was oh my god, where was I? Way back when I was still living with my lived in my basement for my when I lived in my parents' house, and I didn't
Yeah.
wake them up. Somehow I didn't wake them up. I don't know. I've been lifting my entire life since I was 16. I'm 41. I have to factor in when I used to take my weight. I don't take my weight anymore. When I used to, I had to figure like you're looking at a number. You have to know that this number is going to be comprised of how much your body's messing around with your water that day, which is always a fluctuation of like for me 5 pounds easily,
Right.
and muscle mass. I have more muscle mass than I think an average like human being, which would mean I'm going to be heavier anyway because isn't muscle more dense than fat?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's why like a lot of people say that the BMI is garbage, is because it's not
BMI is
equating.
an ancient system, guys. If you want to go buy that, go for it. But I'll tell you what, I'm never going to hit 190 for my height. It's impossible. I'd be a skeleton. I'd die.
uh, yeah, I mean mine I think is like I don't know, like 150s or something like that.
Get,
Yeah,
get that list out of here.
and that's what I was telling my one friend when I was fasting. Um, I said I you like I had pictures of me at 200, like I'm in the 250s now. I have pictures of me at 200, and I was like I was small, man. Like I was small because I have a lot of muscle on me from lifting since I was 15 years old. And he's like, well, where are you gonna go with this? And I'm like, 160. And he's like, dude, you're gonna look ridiculous at 160. He goes, number one, your legs are too big. He goes, so you're packing a lot of muscle like on your legs. But yeah, and like what I was saying before was that when I go into Planet Fitness, it'll be packed outside, and I go in and I see everybody doing cardio. And the thing is that I know for a fact that a lot of those people, and this isn't a knock or anything, but I know for a fact a lot of those people are leaving there and saying like, I ran for 30 minutes on an elliptical, like I'm gonna go eat pizza or something like that.
Nah,
and
you
and
can't do
and
that,
and,
dude.
and where
I mean, you
and where
can't
they would
reward yourself. What days
but
do
but
they
but but
actually bring pizza
but
to Planet Fitness?
unless
Thursday, right?
unless they're, yeah, like the first Monday of every month or something like that.
I don't get it.
So but the thing is that people would be suited better if they were in that mentality. You're gonna burn less calories, but you're served better off if you're gonna go and think in that way to actually lift, because it's gonna give you like if you run for a half hour and burn 300 calories, and then you go eat all this pizza that's 1,000 calories, like you just offset everything. But if you lifted, you still, like, even though you're eating poorly, you're still gaining a workout, like a muscle workout. Your muscles are still going to be sore regardless of how much you eat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're actually gaining something. So what I'm trying to say is that, like, I understand that people push exercise, Peloton, all that. See, like when I look at that for me, I look at it like that doesn't matter. Like I can buy a Peloton now and do it every single day. But if I'm eating the way I am, I'll gain weight. You know,
It's
like
true. If you're taking more in than you're able, yeah, you're going to store that. You're going to store that as fat. It's just the way it works.
I don't know
I did
what.
it. You did it. When you met me, when did we meet? When did we meet? You were working at Subway. I was
I,
working at the movie gallery.
yeah, I was like probably what, 16, 17.
All right. I was probably pretty lean and mean at
Yeah,
that point
dude,
in my life.
beautiful man.
Thank you.
Even my mother says you were a beautiful man. Not that
Yeah,
you're not beautiful now,
I
but
understand, but I know there's a difference. Okay, the teenage and early 20s me was highly motivated to work out. He liked doing it. It was fun for him. So I got in really good shape. But I have to say, my favorite weight to walk around at back then was 240, 245, 250, and I was happy and I looked great.
yeah,
I'm older now. Things have changed. My body's changed. My mind has changed. My life has changed. And when all this stuff happens to us, sometimes we lose what our old motivations used to be. We essentially physiologically become a new person every 7 years. That's the best way I can say it.
yep,
But mentally, we evolve. We learn things. It's a pretty wild road. And I know for a fact now that I'm smarter that you shouldn't ever buy into America's diet culture because it will guilt you. into an awful state of mind for yourself. And even I'm glad I got to talk to you about that earlier, because I heard you say, like, I'm letting people down. Like, no, you're just trying to accomplish something, and you're going to get to it eventually. There's just going to be an avenue for you. We have to figure out what works for you.
Right. And that's that this is what, and a big thing about that is when I was talking to one of my friends, he was fasting, but he's in shape, but he was just utilizing like the one meal a day, just to get fasting benefits. But what I said to him was, I'm like, dude, like I'm not eating for 4 days. If we talked about this a year ago, like you would think like I'd be losing 10 pounds a week. You know what I mean? Like people think like that's in reality, and this is a big point I'm going to make, is at least for me and my body, that's how hard weight loss is. Like you don't eat for 4 days and you're still losing like the 3-4 pounds a week type
Yeah,
deal.
okay. I was about to correct you there,
You
because
know what I
that's
mean?
normal. If you're losing 10 pounds in a week, there's something wrong. You better go see a doctor and get
We
you.
have 666 followers on Mixer. God damn.
Is that good?
I guess, yeah. uh,
Anyway, yeah, if you're going to lose weight safely, you should only be doing it from like 2 to 3 pounds a week. Some people say that's not, like, maybe some people will say 3 pounds is too much. You should be doing it slower. The idea is that if you take it off slower, it's easier to keep off. I'm not sure if there, you know what, I'll find a study that can talk to me about that. But the one study I want to talk about tonight is, I don't have the paper, I'll find it, is one of the best things I was taught by the dietitian that I saw. And
right.
it showed 4 different people's eating styles throughout one year. And all of them went up and down. It was like looking at a lie detector. Okay. So it was showing me during those 365 days of the year, sometimes they'd eat high, and then other times they'd be under, they'd be eating low, and then sometimes they'd be in the middle. And it taught me one thing, that the 4 people of all different, I think they were, there's 4 different builds, let's put it that way.
Mhm.
It all evened out at the end of the year. It all evened out at the end of the year. And I thought that was absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
Terribly fascinating.
Yeah.
I'll
Uh,
find you that link also.
what
That's a cool
other,
study.
stuff have you learned through your dietitian there?
The first thing we started doing was writing down what we're eating and holding ourselves accountable to eating multiple times a day. I asked her about intermittent fasting. She told me nope. I asked her about keto. She said nope. And she goes, we're going to figure out what your patterns are and what you're missing. And the first thing she targeted with me was breakfast. I skip it all the time. I don't
Yeah.
have a breakfast. She wants me eating breakfast, even if it's a yogurt before I run out the door to go to work.
Right.
She wanted something there so that then I can use that as fuel, not only physical, but mental fuel. I'm a very highly active mental kind of guy. So my brain can burn thousands of calories and I don't even know it's doing it for me.
Right.
Your body's functions require stuff from you to just keep going. Automated functions, dude. Your lungs are going to breathe. Your heart's going to beat. Your brain's going to work. Well, your brain's still doing stuff while you're sleeping. We started to put together what's the lifestyle that's going to work the best for me, where I can maintain a weight, go down in weight, go up in weight. Why do you want to go down? What's so terrible about putting weight on? What if you're happy at a certain weight? What if you have a weight where you're meant to walk around at, and that's the one you can sustain? All these questions, I didn't have answers for them. It took us a whole year to start just sitting down and nailing these topics. Like what's up with America's diet culture? That's pretty messed up, dude. You can't do that to people.
Right.
Uh, what are doctors telling you to do? Should you be doing stuff like that? I don't know. You have to have it work for you. It has to be your system. It has to
Right.
be the thing that works. It has to be the the stuff you roll up on, the stuff you can do. It's not one size fits all. I'd like to say that it was, but it's not. I thought keto was going to be. I'm like, keto. Joel's talking about this all the time. He knows. He like, this is going to be good. And I read into it. And I'm like, oh. You don't want to do it for this reason, this reason, this. Oh, wow, okay. And then it got popular. People are putting it on diet bars, candy bars, their food. Like it. You saw how it kind of just
Yeah,
kind
and then and then
right.
America takes it, into another. It's the same thing, man. When a couple years ago, which was the worst thing, which people still talk about to this day, is the crap with like low fat. Oh, I'm gonna have a bag of potato chips, but they're low fat.
Wow.
Your
Yeah.
body, like, dude. We used to eat friggin' animals every day, like like every part of the animal.
In the 1980s, this won't take long. In the 1980s, the
Take as long
government
as you want,
decided
man.
to decide with big sugar, and they wanted to make some money. So everything, the fat was the enemy. Fat was the one to be you put the crosshairs and you take them out. We got to get rid of the fat. We got to get healthy. And there was a health craze, and people were lifting left and right in the 80s. And I kind of remember that because I was growing up in the 80s, and the 90s came. And then I was able to figure out that, okay, so they wanted sugar to be sugar. Yes, good. Take in more sugar, but you'll have to buy stuff that's low in fat. So what makes it taste better when you take away the fat? Well, they just put in more sugar, and then it was sold rinse repeat. It was a nasty, nasty thing to have happen to the American people. People died because of it. They became obese and they expired, and it was awful. And then once I realized marketing shaped the way we're supposed to kind of think about our food pyramid, and then we can go on to the BMI with you. So there's problems with the American dieting systems, quote unquote, diet culture. There's a problem with diet culture, and then there's also a problem with the way we approach food in our lives. And I think you can take how you approach food in your life. And
I
I
f-
say a couple of things about that.
I feel and this is like not a knock on anybody like in my life, but like when I'm in the thick of things and like tomorrow. So tomorrow at like 5 o'clock at night when I leave work, I'll be in like 48 hours of fasting. And it goes crazy because I am that person is when I walk in tomorrow and people that are at what I would think is an unhealthy weight for their frame and for what they're doing, and I know that they don't feel well, um, are eating as soon as I walk into work, and then and that's at 8:30, and then at 9 o'clock they're talking about lunch, and it's not
Well,
healthy.
that's part of
It's
it.
not it's
That's
not
part of the
healthy.
day. I've
It's
seen
it's
people do that before.
right, but that's it. You
Yeah,
just said it.
I think I
It's
used to be
it's
guilty of doing that. You used to be guilty of doing that.
you
Some
you
people
talked
do.
about this. You talked about this before. Can you remember what you told me? Because I can't
Yeah,
remember
we were
about.
driving in the car. We made a left turn onto William Street.
And you
So
nailed it.
okay, some people like that. When I was my heaviest, that's all I thought about. Well, what am I eating when I wake up? Or am I having something to eat? What am I having for lunch? What's dinner? And that was just I was obsessed with food, and I was probably eating my emotions at the same time. And it was an unhealthy lifestyle for me. So
Right.
I could say all this about myself because I lived through all this. This was my battle with myself, and
Right.
I was able to find the things to be able to keep take all this weight off. I put some weight back on. It doesn't. It's always going to happen like that. It's the dangers of yo-yo dieting. You got to watch out. You can do it for so long, but then Mr. Tom Hanks couldn't even keep it up. He ended up becoming pre-diabetic.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what it was. You become obsessed with food, and then you have an unhealthy relationship with food,
No.
and
What
that gets you into a world of hurt. and I'm
weren't
not
we?
saying that anyone can't drag themselves out of it, but if you're stuck out there and you're having a hard time, you got to talk to somebody. You got to talk to us. You got to talk to a nutritionist, a dietitian. Just go to somebody and start getting in touch with your emotions and feelings and the relationships that you have with the vices you have around you. And this is going to center on, since I'm saying nutritionist and dietitian, I'd say do a dietitian before a nutritionist. They have more school, they have more, they have
Right.
more certifications, and they
Let
have to
me
practice more.
let me make this parallel here. Is number one, what Nasim said is true. We are always open to talk about anything, especially you're looking personally at me, a lifelong dieter, and a lifelong battle with all of this. And as I get older, I get more scared, because I could actually feel it where before I didn't feel it. But this is the before I forget, this is like the parallel that I want to make is that I feel that it's when we're at work or we're doing something that we don't want to or we're bored. I just feel that it's just like we take out our phone and we open Instagram or we open Twitter. Like let's call it what it is. It's an addiction. The reason why I have my Kindle app, which I want to be reading many books a year, and I open up Twitter to get that dopamine hit. It's the same thing, and I think just because of how culture is going and where culture is going, that if we're at work, we can't be on Facebook or we can't be on Twitter, or we can't be on Instagram, and I feel that, but we can get up and get a cupcake or get a bagel or get something like that. So what I'm trying to say is that it's once again a dopamine fix. And I've saw like a couple authors like Mark Manson coming out with like the attention diet, which is not a diet for your for your physical health. I mean, maybe physical, but it's basically putting a dopamine diet. um and I feel, and I think this is what you were saying, is that we just don't, we just look forward to that, you know, just like we look forward to going to bed, or we look forward to coming home and watching Netflix. Like it's just part of that. And when you take that away, like you feel like crap. You don't know what to do. If someone took away Twitter, someone took away that, you wouldn't know what to do. Someone took away your smartphone. Let's just call it that. Someone took away your smartphone, you go fucking nuts. And that's the same thing I think with food, and that why it's so hard to break out of the loop, and why when I get back in that loop, it's so hard for me to break out of. Thankfully, after probably 2 months, maybe 3 months, I've actually been able to get through a day, which is today, um, fasting, and I feel great. My doing this podcast is easier. I feel great doing this now. I can go for another 2 hours talking if you want. Last week when we were here, you know, I felt it. I was good, but that one day, that one day, we ended it, and I said I was
Oh yeah, you
tired.
said you're done, though, man. Goodbye.
Yeah, I was like, I'm super tired. I mean, then again, it was after a night of going out for the holiday party, but it's just it's different every single every let me tell you personally, every single aspect of my life is better when I am being healthy, and I am fasting, and I am doing things, and I'm talking on a week basis. I'm talking weekends of going out and eating pizza and wings and binging food and you know, and going out and having drinks and shit like that. And I'm talking on Thursday eating like a pound of food with like cheese and bacon and mayo. I mean, things that, you know, are keto in a sense, but I'm eating so much of it. So my protocol is to kick myself out because I'm going to the gym. I don't want, after I eat, I never want to stay in ketosis. I want to kick myself out of it by not bread, but protein, by a high amount of protein.
Okay.
That way, you know, my body does go into gluconeogenesis, which is what happens when it lacks carbohydrates, and it lacks glucose. So it turns your proteins into a sugar to feed your body.
Okay.
We've just evolved that way. I don't know what's right or what's wrong, but I don't feel that we are meant to always be in a state of ketosis.
Got it.
At least not
I
for
would
me.
kind of like have to side with you on this one, and I'd have to be against ketosis. Also, it works for some people, not for others. There's a lot of pluses and there's a lot of minuses. I'll give you. I just found a lesson that my dietitian, she did it with me, and one of the best lessons I've ever learned from her. And I used to make it into a thing, and we'd laugh. And um, fasting might seem scary for some people. She was saying that fasting isn't for Americans. We talked about the documentary I saw, but beyond all this stuff, I remember what we first started talking about. So say someone's listening to this cast and they're thinking to themselves, I can't do any of this stuff. These guys are talking, it sounds like Chinese. And the first thing I had to learn how to identify was ghrelin, spelled
Oh yeah.
Ghrelin. And then
Oh yeah.
I made it into a joke. Ghrelin's the part, the chemical, ghrelin's released in your brain to tell you, I'm hungry, I'm hangry, I'm not happy right now. And it's going to let you know that little voice right there, which you can start to learn to identify, you'll know when your body's telling you it's time to eat.
Right.
And the other chemical that tells you, hey, I'm full, we can stop eating now, is, I have it over here, leptin, the most
Yep.
powerful appetite suppressing hormone, and is made of fat cells. It's discovered in 1994. The more fat cells that we have, the more leptin the body produces. Ghrelin is made in the stomach, stimulates hunger by entering the brain and acting on the neurons in the hypothalamus to increase the activity of the hunger causing nerve cells and reducing activity of the hunger, um, the, the hunger, the ones that lessen your hunger.
Right.
I'm going to shorten this. I can't read the whole thing. As the stomach empties, the release of ghrelin increases. As soon as the stomach is filled, it decreases. So then I'd make the added joke, like instead of being hangry, I'd be like, I'm ghrelin, y'all.
Yeah.
Like, get out of my face, I'm ghrelin. And
That goes away though. You know, that comes in waves. It's not just like steady. At least for me, it comes in waves. Like if you can just stick to it, which I'm gonna get to another part of this whole fasting thing. Um, but ghrelin for me comes in waves, and I think that a lot of things with leptin is that when you're like myself and you're eating like crap and you're heavy, your leptin gets I'm gonna destroy this. So but your leptin like gets messed up. so you think that you're hungry, but you're really not. Uh, and these past few weeks, let's talk about like Halloween. My office was filled with candy, and it is insane. And I've never said this before, and I've never told anyone this, but I was eating candy at the office, and it got to a point where it was just like, I need more, I need more, I need more, and you're not filling yourself at all, but you're taking in thousands of calories of sugar
You're saying
because
you were grilling for some candy, but your leptin was never kicking in. They'd be like, "Hey, you had enough, pal."
no, never. And I would come home then and have some sort of protein, but like it was already over. I never, I especially coming from fasting in the summer, I never felt like that. Like I was sitting there at my desk, and I'm like, I just want more. And I was taking like handfuls of candy, and then I'd eat them, and it's not satisfying anything, and it takes 2 seconds.
I don't know, man. I think it was satisfying you on some level. That's why you did it, right? It's the
Yeah,
holidays.
yeah.
It's
It's a
stressful.
it's a
You're
car
at work.
it's a carnival in my mouth. That's it. Like that's it. I don't even drink as much. I do drink a ton of water, but I still don't think it's enough. Like I probably drink 4 diet sodas a day, which is awful.
Yeah, you want to stay away from diet sodas. So, some study came out where people are dying of heart attacks just because of the artificial sweetener.
Yeah.
We don't know what oh, there's another. Oh, you know what? This would be another topic. This would be another uh, 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 topic for when we're wanting to get behind the science of what do we crave, why do we crave it, and how do we deal with that. And there's voices in your head you're going to be able to listen to. They're going to be your own voices. They're going to tell you, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. You have to learn just the right path that's going to work for you. And it can easily be done. If I can do it, anyone can do it. I'd like to be able to try to teach it to you and see what you think about it. I'll even send you to the same person I used to go to talk to when I wanted to get down to the brass tacks, get all the facts. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
See the research, see what's going on out there.
That's the thing too, and I mean, going back to alcoholic or something, those people they say, I'm an alcoholic for life, and I always get down that I'm like an all or nothing personality.
Okay.
So even like I could eat. So if I come home and I have like lunch meat and a wrap, like in my brain it's like, okay, you broke fast, pig out. When I probably ate 500 calories, like even if I called it there, like I'm still on a really 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 good track for the week. Um but I'm just like, oh well, I broke fast, I'm not fasting, like game over, I might as well pig out today, and it's like this all or nothing. And what upsets me is that like I can't get to the point where I can just eat normally. I
You
can't.
will, but it's not supposed to be something that you figure out overnight. If you got
Right.
yourself in trouble in not overnight, you have to get yourself out of trouble in not overnight. So there's no number one. Oh my God, that's quick snippet. So Paige Van Zandt, she's a fighter, PVZ.
Yep.
She's in the UFC. She doesn't really need to fight as much anymore because she says she can make more money on Instagram by posting. I don't know how that even works. Maybe you can send me straight on that one.
Just just
And
marketers and stuff, man.
yeah, and
She
then
has
she and
deals.
when she's actually fighting, and she was showing somebody like a cream or a CBD or something like that, and it was supposed to be a product. And the first question, this is America's diet culture. They're nuts. Um, okay, they're like, if I take this, can I have abs? And then she responds, she's like, okay, so you can't have abs without working out like that. She's trying to be so nice about it, but that's the
Right.
thing. If you don't know, there's no way you could know if you're about to get bamboozled by a company or not, because you're looking for a one-stop shop. This is going to be the answer, and the answer is on a mental level, a physical level. There are multiple levels. That's why you have to sit down with people that have studied this stuff and really just talk it out. And it all depends on your level too, because like, what's your media diet like? What's your American like diet like the diet culture, like what's your understanding of it, because it can be very misleading and it can be super confusing too. So
Right.
it's good to sit down and talk like this. We should do this more.
Yeah, me and Nason both talked about doing like a weight loss Wednesday or just like a nutrition type deal. And what we'll do is, I'm not sure what Nason's going for, what your goals are. Obviously, my goals. And I would just go into how my week was, and if that was I ate 40 pieces of candy on a Monday, then that's what it would be. But I mean, the holidays are going to be bad. I'm sure I'm going to have like next week is Christmas Eve and then Christmas Day on a Tuesday and Wednesday. So usually when I would fast from Monday to Thursday, that ain't happening. I'm going to tell you that straight up.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
it's the holidays, guys. I'm going to have a message for everyone here, and I'm sure you're going to quickly concur with what I have to say. This is another viewpoint. The holidays are here, and emotions can run high and low for all the right and wrong reasons. So, yeah, we're going to eat, and we're going to be drinking some stuff too. The message I saw was from my dietitian, and she's like, "Listen, uh, make sure you make time to indulge yourself in the things that you like coffees, because all the different coffee creamers and flavors. It's like Thanksgiving was here, and then Christmas is here, so people
right.
that can be very alluring. You're a coffee drinker yourself, correct?
I try to shy away from it. So
Okay.
just really quickly, um, I know that coffee could stay in your body for like 16 hours after drinking.
Yeah.
So what I do is if I only drink, I try to only drink if I am in the AM. And the only way I do it is before I was fasting, I would go in, sit down, get my water and a coffee, and I would limit myself to 4 a day, 4 cups, a day if I needed that much. But what I do now is I only use it when my body cues me that that for coffee. So that means that if I'm yawning, if I'm sitting there and I'm working and I'm physically like, ooh, coffee could help this situation, that's when I use it. No, I don't. Where before I was just using it blindly, like, oh, it's the morning, I'm drinking coffee.
Okay.
So today I did have 3 cups. I was just a tired day, and I'm guessing that's because of the beginning of fasting again.
Yeah.
Um, and Mondays, even when I was in the thick of fasting, Mondays I always usually did have 1 or 2 cups of coffee. But like I said, instead of just blindly going and getting it because it's the morning and that's what I do in the morning, I wait for my body to tell me, hey, some coffee would probably benefit you right now.
Gotcha. I gotcha.
So,
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that's what I was trying to say. Sorry about that. I've got a little.
and I always drink a black, so it's like zero
You do,
calorie,
you
all
do.
that.
That way you can do it and you can still maintain. As soon as you start dropping sugar and cream and everything's changed. But the message was from ourselves here at the B Plus Podcast. Enjoy yourself during the holidays. You're going to be stressed out with this or that, or maybe you're having an awesome time. It's
Right.
okay to put on some weight around the holidays. Don't beat yourself up over it. That's the last thing any of us need to be doing, is putting ourselves through our own type of like mental torture because it's the
Just,
holidays.
just
That's the way it is.
right. Adding on to it. Right.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. If you want a positive message, there it is. Be kind to yourself and try to think of the holidays as a positive experience the best you can, because I know it's hard for a lot of people. It really
Yeah.
is.
No, I agree. Like I said, I'm not gonna hold back, and my brother's in, who only comes in once a year now. It's from
Oh, good.
living
I haven't seen
away.
him since your wedding.
Yeah, so he just actually got here today, so he'll probably be gone again before the new year. So gotta get time in with him, which means like, hey, you want to go for something to eat, or you want to go here, you want to go there. So yeah, I'm definitely going to indulge, but the thing that I'm going to do is to be mindful when I can. So that means, like, let's say, so Christmas day after Christmas is Thursday and Friday. So let's say Friday, which would usually be a fasting day, uh, I get a call and like, hey, let's go eat. Like, okay, but what I'm just going to be mindful of is that I'm just going to fast as long as I can. So if that's 5 hours or skipping breakfast or something like that, I'm just going to be mindful. I don't want to go into uh, going out to the bar and getting bar food and some beers with my brother. Um, Going in there already at 1,000 calories. Let's go in with zero, just to negate as much of that bad that I can.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm gonna do. That's personally. I mean, that's not like advice for anybody, but
I'll give some
um,
advice. A pro tip to make sure that you're not eating too fast, because sometimes when people are really hungry or emotional, you could eat kind of quick. And I don't know if you'll always remember the experience as being positive. Take your non-dominant hand. So for me, it would be my left hand, and eat with that hand because it's going to slow you down. And you'll
yeah,
see it slower. I mean, that is not bad advice from at all. I mean, come on.
right, right. And that's the thing you just like popped in my brain is that when I'm not on my regimen and I'm eating normally, I'm eating a ton throughout the day, a ton of calories. So like then when I'm on my fasting, so like I'm gonna break fast on Thursday, and I would, like I said, have a ton, probably over a pound of the meat, and on a low carb wrap with mayo, all that crap. And what I would find is that you haven't eaten in 4 days, so you're like, oh, you're gonna crush this, and I would make
No,
this huge meal, and you don't. And
no.
that was another added benefit, is that I'd be like, oh man, can't wait to get home from work. I'm gonna have this big meal, gonna have this, and I eat half of it, and I was
Yeah,
done. I couldn't eat. Where
no.
if I was eating continuously, I'd devour that in a second.
I'm pretty sure, and don't quote me on this one. I'm not any type of an expert. I heard that some people say a nutritionist is a self-proclaimed title.
Right,
So I'm not going to say I'm a nutritionist, but I'm pretty sure when you were fasting, you did shrink the size of your stomach or what it could hold
right,
in its the whole capacity. So when you got to your meal, you didn't need the whole thing. You just needed
right.
what you needed, right?
And right, absolutely, I agree. And that was, if I could say two bad things of fasting that I had. Um, Two bad things are is when I would eat that night, I would go to bed and I would feel the food in my stomach.
Gross.
Probably for about 15 or 20 minutes.
Denzel Washington
Nothing.
says that when he's putting on, well, weight for a role, that he loves the feeling of going to bed with a full stomach. Now you're
It,
going to anti that, right?
well, here's the other part of that, is that about
You're not Denzel Washington.
I'm not Denzel Washington. Uh, so let's say I'm fasting Monday through Thursday. About Wednesday night, because my body has switched into full ketosis, probably a pretty deep ketosis, it is using fat as for energy. Well, I don't know if my body knows to chill out when I would go to bed. So it would usually happen on Wednesday night. I would toss and turn a lot, because I just was filled with so much energy. Um, what I did to remedy that was I would take a so they recommend like 3 pills for men, 2 pills for women. I was taking one um before bed on fasting days of ZMA, which is zinc and magnesium. And
Hey,
what it helps is just it calmed me down.
yeah.
So my energy levels would come down when I took it, and that helped me sleep. So like tonight, being fasted, I'll take 1 pill of ZMA before bed, which ZMA is like one of like the, especially if you're lifting, is one of the most like recommended products to take. So
Thanks for teaching me about that. I'll check it out.
yeah,
Sounds good. What
ZMA
time
is
are we at?
good.
I have to go write a report for work, sadly.
We're over an hour, which is awesome.
Woo! Let's
Yeah.
call it. And
All
we'll pick
right.
it back up.
Let me wrap this up then.
Wrap it.
So like I said, what was all this talk about fasting and all that? What was it? I just do believe that there are a lot of, big food markets out there that do spew propaganda on saying like, hey, you need to exercise, make sure you eat, but you need to exercise. I think of that differently. I think that if you listen to your body and you use those reserves on your body, number one, if you're like me, you'll feel great, and you'll detox your body from all the garbage that is in these franken foods, which I'm the biggest probably eater of. um I don't cook, I don't do things like that, so
Okay.
um I think that's another thing that inhibits me, my weight loss. But I don't listen to all that. I think it is more of having a good weight training regimen, just to combat everything in life. Gravity dragging you down all the time. The more muscle you have, the better you're going to counteract that. And I just feel it's for overall health, for mental health, for to help that is weightlifting. So get into that. Don't worry about doing cardio, especially if you're not eating good, because it's really wasted time. But um try it out, and if you need to hit me up or hit Nasim up, feel free to,
I
and
can talk to you
I will
about
tell you.
cardio and weightlifting. I'm proficient in both.
Right,
There's different forms of exercise that work for all different kinds of people. It's like we were saying before, there's different lids to pop. There's a lid for every pot. And the
right,
good thing is that if you find something that you're into and it works for you, do it and enjoy yourself, even if it is a Peloton bike. Or for me,
right.
my favorite two machines on Mr. Planet Fitness were, there was a chest machine, and there was I did like the one you showed me in the back, the gravity machine for
The
like
gravity machine. Oh yeah.
good time. 20 minutes a day, 20 minutes when you're working out, they say will satisfy your mental state of mind or your mental energy for I got a workout in. I did 20 minutes. 2-0 is what a lot of the research is showing as a minimum. Some people want to know how long should you be working out. There's no answer to that. I'm basically saying, from what I read, you should at least be working out for 20 minutes. It doesn't say every day.
Right.
It doesn't give you any specific instructions. It's just like something that works well with humans. Another one was when you do a workout without weight and you're doing it all with yourself, maybe like, like a yoga, it doesn't tax your mind one bit because
Right.
you're doing everything yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I would also say that the best regimen that I've had is getting my 3 lifts in to hit my full body a week, and then in those off days doing yoga and just doing it to get the stretch and to feel, because I sit there and I think about other people, which I'm not doing it all the time, but I'm sitting there and I'm thinking like, I can't believe like people don't do this. Like when I first got back into doing yoga in the summer, when I was first doing those stretches, it was like open wounds. Like that's how much it hurt. I'm like, wow, my body's jacked. And if you don't go into these positions or into these stretches, you don't even know it. You go through your day all day like, oh, I feel fine. And then like a simple thing of like putting your arms over your head and just like tilting your hips out, you feel like your whole hip just, Jesus.
Yeah, the moment of truth for me was when I was doing DDP yoga and his very particular style of yoga with cardio and maybe your own learning of where your muscles
Calisthenics.
are and how they work. He wants to make your spine alive, and he makes
Yeah.
your spine alive. You feel better. You just feel better after doing 1, 2. If you get your 3 done in your week, like it just links together. It just works. I don't know how else to talk about it. It's just the thing that is.
It's fantastic.
I like that
yeah,
we could possibly end on what is it called now? What's his brand?
Gasby Ron, thank you for the follow.
Cool.
Appreciate you. We are ending the podcast now, but I appreciate you there.
Nice.
Yeah,
It used to be DDP yoga, or no, it used to be
YRG yoga for regular guys. Yeah, so we'll end it there. There's gonna be a lot more talk about this, so we're not done there. But like I said, if you need anything, make sure to hit us up, Instagram, all that. Which I'm always shilling my own stuff. Why don't you shill your own if you want? If not, then we won't talk about it.
Cool.
Do you want to like have it like where people can find you or anything like that?
Me?
Any Instagram or?
Go on my Instagram. It's just Robert Dillon Jr. My name. It's just JR.
There you go.
Find me there if you want to ask me a question. I'll answer them. I'm on there enough to be able to keep my posts going, so I'll be there. That's the best way I can describe it. I'll come up with an email too. I'll get you an email.
Sweet. And then obviously the normal stuff for us, we are on this podcast. The audio version is on anchor.fm/Seftimor. It also goes out to all major platforms, Spotify, Pocket Cast if you're on Android, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff. Video version, of course, is on YouTube or anywhere where I stream on, which is mixer.com/Seftimor. That's where I do game streaming and things like that. And then if you want to find anything related, Seftimorlive.com is the home base where all of these are archived. So that's it. But like I said, DMs are always open. Instagram, Seftimor, Twitter, all that. You can find me anywhere like that. So if you have a question for me or a question for Nasim or a topic that you'd like us to talk about, please hit us up in comments, DMs, wherever you are.
Yeah, send it over to Seftimor too. If you need to get a hold of me, he has my info, so we're good.
All right, sweet. That's it. Have a good night, and no podcast tomorrow if anyone was waiting. My brother we're gonna go out, so weren't able to go out because he got a little late. So yeah, so hopefully be back on Thursday. So we will see you then, and have a good night, everybody.
Bye.